Hi, I'm Carl Azuz. Happy to see you this Tuesday for 10 minutes of world events. We've got some news out of the war-torn nation of Syria leading off our show. Russia has been involved in the conflict. Since last September, it's been launching airstrikes that military analysts say have helped the Syrian government forces of President Bashar al-Assad. Monday, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced his military would pull out of Syria starting today. The Russian leader says his nation's goals in Syria have been reached. The announcement was made at the same time that peace talks resume. They involve Syria's government, different rebel groups, and international officials. And some analysts say the Russian withdrawal is a sign that President Putin is now pushing Syria's leader to reach a political settlement and end the nation's 5-year-old civil war.
Moving through rebel-held northern Syria is difficult and dangerous. As foreign journalists in areas with a strong jihadist presence, we had to travel undercover to see a war few outsiders have witnessed. The city of Idlib is the only provincial capital under rebel control. This was its courthouse until it was hit by an airstrike in December. Dozens were killed. 40-year-old lawyer Talal Al-Jawi told us he was inside the building when it was hit. His arm was smashed, but he was lucky to survive.
The Russian planes target anything that works in the interest of the people. The goal is that people here live a destroyed life, that people never see any good, that they never taste life. This is the tax of living in a liberated area.
An hour later, we saw that tax for ourselves while filming in a town nearby. We heard the scream of fighter jets wheeling overhead. Moments later, a hit.
There was just an airstrike here in the town of Ariha, so we're now driving very quickly. It's not clear yet what was hit, but we are hearing that there are still planes in the sky.
Arriving on the scene, our team found chaos and carnage. Russia has repeatedly claimed it is only hitting terrorist targets. This strike hit a busy fruit market.
This is just a civilian market. This is not a military area.
There are no military installations here or anything. It's a market. Look, it's a market. A fruit market. Is this what you want, Bashar?
We couldn't stay long. Often jets circle back to hit the same place twice. It's called a double tap. The strikes on Ariha that day killed 11 people, among them a woman and 2 children. Rescue workers wasted no time in clearing away the rubble. In this ugly war, massacres have become routine.
Big day in the U.S. presidential nomination process. 5 states are holding contests for the Republican and Democratic candidates. For the Republicans, 2 of these states are winner-take-all, meaning that whoever wins the Florida and Ohio GOP contests wins all of the state's delegates. Before today's vote, businessman Donald Trump was leading the Republicans. He'd gathered 462 delegates. Texas Senator Ted Cruz had 371. Florida Senator Marco Rubio had 165, and Ohio Governor John Kasich had 63. For the GOP nomination, 1,237 delegates are needed. For the Democrats, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was leading. She'd gathered 1,244 delegates overall. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders had 574 total. For the Democratic nomination, 2,383 delegates are needed. Time to answer the call of the roll and check in with who's watching our show around the world. We'll start with the Eagles of Walcott High School. Thank you for watching from Walcott in the Constitution State of Connecticut. Jumping south to the Lone Star State, the Spartans are online at St. Stephen's Episcopal School. It's in the state capital, Austin. And on the largest island in the Mediterranean, that's Sicily, Italy. Hello to everyone watching at Sigonella Middle High School. The vernal equinox, when daylight and nighttime are about the same length, will occur this weekend. In the southern hemisphere, it's the first official day of fall. In the northern hemisphere, the first of spring. For many parts of the U.S., allergists are warning that it doesn't have to officially be spring for pollen to attack. Whether or not you believe in the perfunctory prognostications of Punxsutawney Phil, who said spring's coming early this year, there's something in the air we can count on every year. Yes, pollen, as in pollen me while I sneeze again. You can blame men for this one, at least the male components of plants. They produce countless grains of the stuff that fertilizes other plants, but also sometimes winds up planted in our noses. Here's the fun part, and by fun I mean terrible. In some parts of the U.S., pollen sneezing is starting earlier this year. Tree pollen is supposed to peak in March, grass pollen in the following weeks. What does that mean? Well, researchers count the number of pollen grains in a cubic meter of air. A count of 120 or more is considered high. But in recent years, the Southeast has seen counts in the thousands. If you're not allergic, you'll notice the pollen on your yellow car, which didn't start out yellow. If you are allergic, you'll know by the coughing, sneezing, wheezing, sniffling, allergic suffering that pollen brings you. The worst times for pollen are dawn and dusk, so you want to try to be indoors then. The best, right after it rains, when the air is clearer. Here's hoping your pollen season isn't a pollen. We've walked on the moon, sent spacecraft to the far reaches of our solar system, yet humans have only explored 5% of the world's oceans. Why? Well, for one thing, building a submersible that can withstand the water pressure takes a feat of engineering. Deep water exploration is time-consuming, it's expensive, researchers have trouble getting funding, and like space exploration, it's dangerous. But there are inventors who are making deep strides.
The latest suit that we're building right now is called an exosuit. An exo, very simply, is from exoskeleton, like a crab shell, and all your soft meat inside it doing what you want to do. So it's kind of like Iron Man come to life. My name is Phil Newton, and I design and build things to go under the sea, deep under the sea. Inside the suit, you're at the same pressure that we were designed to be at, the pressure that we're at right now. And with this suit, you can go down to 1,000 feet and even deeper and have no pressure effects whatsoever because inside it is one atmosphere. The suits are better suited for working. Your arm's actually in there, your hands are gripping the grippers, and so when you move, it moves. It's really kind of a paradox in as much as it has to be absolutely rigid to withstand that high outside pressure. At, say, 1,000 feet, the pressure is 500 pounds per square inch. But it has to be flexible so you can move the arms and legs and work. Otherwise, what's the point in going down there? The suit has a tether to the surface, and that tether provides you with power because the suit flies. It has thrusters on it, and it flies around on the end of this umbilical. So why doesn't everybody do it? Well, first of all, the suits are very hard to build, and they're expensive. They're very expensive. So the most difficult thing is getting the price down. Going down the exosuit is almost always going down for a purpose. I want the pilot to be able to accomplish the task, whatever it is, whether it's photography, welding, cutting, blasting, burning, and not think about the suit at all. You shouldn't even know it's there. It has to be unremarkable. The more unremarkable, the better. I guess what drives me is that there's still so much more to be done. It's tremendous to be able to go to greater depths than you've been to ever before and to examine them. And when archaeologists and scientists are able to go down there, the deeper they go, the more things they find that they didn't even know existed.
If you just can't decide whether you'd rather ride a roller coaster or play video games, well, now you can do both at the same time. A U.S. theme park has incorporated virtual reality gaming into one of its coasters. So while you ride, you see an entirely different set of scenery, you see aliens, and you shoot them. Oh, and you ride the roller coaster. Will this become the way we all ride coasters in the future? Depends on the type of coaster. Some people won't be able to handle the suspension. Some won't have nerves of steel. Some will want to boomerang back and get back on track with the old school non-VR days when you wouldn't want to change a thing. And though we're on a roll, coastering through every bad pun we've got, this ride is over, y'all. Hope you'll get back on tomorrow.